This episode is sponsored by Riverside.
More on them later.
Welcome back to the Couch to Creator podcast. Sal Bart here from Trio Stories.
We hit record on real-life conversations about all things creator. The wins, the defeats, industry news, latest gossip, literally anything you can think of in the creator world. We're here to talk about it.
This week we have a lovely guest with us, Dani, whose Instagram handle is Just Do Dani.
He's a super talented creator and we can't wait to talk to him about all things short form. But not only that, Dani, it's so good to have you on the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you for the awesome intro as well. I'm already blushed.
We're so happy that you've made time to speak to us. Dani, we're so curious to hear your story. We know you were a photographer first, you moved on to video. Now you are sort of, becoming the king of short form. Tell us a little bit about...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little bit high, like putting me on a high pedestal here.
Oh, we love your stuff. Every time we see one of your videos, we're watching it multiple times.
That means a lot. Thank you so much.
So tell us about how it all started, because I know you started quite recently. Based on our research, I believe it's around 2019. And yet seeing, your following, probably a combined following of like around 200,000. And then, brands such as Amiga, Audi, Asus, LG. You've done some impressive work in those, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, it's been a long road. It's been a long journey, of course, indeed. You did your research right. I just started my Instagram page actually in 2019 with the portrait page. So I mainly shot women. I don't know. I didn't like to shoot men, so... Before that, I actually also did some photos of cars because I'm like a car enthusiast. Like I really like tuning cars and saw these amazing pictures on Instagram, and that's why I wanted to get into photography as well. And then I shifted into portraits, into persons, because I really like to, I don't know, do portraits, but don't do like the usual ones. I really like to take it to another level, to make it special, to make it a little bit surreal, but still realistic. So I had a couple creators I really liked, like Third Eye Vision was one of them, like in the beginning, if you know him. He was a really great photographer. He did like the portraits, kind of anime, like blending it in together.
Nice.
Yeah, really nice. And the other one was Liquid Verve, Alex, but she's actually German. And I also did like mentoring with her together for half a year or something about portrait photography. Yeah.
Oh, sick.
So this helped me really like to bounce things off, to get very fast and efficient with editing and photography in general, like with portraits. Because, I mean, you can learn it by yourself, but if someone sees your work and see how you like actually do the editing and everything and give you feedback, you learn so much faster.
Yeah, definitely. That's actually such a good point. Like we always, from the very beginning, we've always done everything ourselves, and it's a much slower progress to develop your skills. And I'm just learning DaVinci now. I'm switching to DaVinci. And we've got Sam Calder's course.
Yeah.
And that's been a game changer for like swapping quicker than if I just learned it myself.
Yes, absolutely. I think so. He just released the DaVinci course as well after his Premiere course, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I see a lot of creators posting their stories about Calder Creative as well on Instagram.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But I mean, Dani, this is, I would say, quite like a really cool thing that you did, because it's quite unusual for people so early on to make that decision to go into like one-to-one coaching and like to really double down with, your creator education, let's say. So what made you kind of decide to do that, to dive in and do that?
So I was... because everyone does editing differently. I was struggling to still get an efficient style that quickly. So I wanted to be like Julian, Third Eye Vision. I really liked his style. So I wanted to learn it from him, because he can tell me like how he does it. And that was actually just a 1 hour like one-on-one session. And I watched it again and again while I was editing new portraits. And then I developed my own style a little bit. I don't know. I just wanted to invest to get faster in something like that. And then most of the people, they don't want to invest at all. They just want to have the free stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, like, because I think our viewers would be really curious. So I'm guessing these were like paid courses. So
Exactly.
you decided to kind of invest money, but also like, in a way, it's like putting your trust that this is something, a creative direction that you want to pursue. So that's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. And at that time, I was actually working in the IT. So this was like, I had shootings almost every weekend scheduled down. I just did that stuff for a long time. Like my friends always asked me, "Are you coming out to a party or not?" And I was like, "No, I want to edit this stuff. I want to publish this stuff on Instagram." And yeah, I sacrificed a lot of free time, party time, etc.
So did it start as a hobby, the photography?
Absolutely. Actually, to be honest, I didn't know how to monetize on Instagram for a long time. Even though I had a big following afterwards, I still worked in companies for a long time.
So how did you make that transition from like a guy that was struggling to monetize at first, to then, someone with a really impressive following like right now, and this client portfolio of yours? Because I mean, it's just incredible.
I mean, for me, it's also really incredible. I don't take it for granted, of course. And actually, I started to monetize. Like my first money I did on social media was with 101 courses as well. So
Okay.
I teached other people, and I posted a lot of stories, like how I did the edits, like before and after, but every step. And then I already provided some value, and people knew, okay, this guy knows something. I'm gonna book like a one-on-one coaching, and I did a couple of them. And afterwards, I published a tutorial, a portrait editing tutorial with all my techniques. Actually, that was pretty good in my opinion back in the days. So I made a couple bucks off of that, and after that, I didn't do a lot of brand work at all. I didn't know how to reach out to brands and everything, because this is another I don't know, this is something different than you see or learn anywhere.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
previously, in the past, it was more difficult to reach out to brands than
For sure,
nowadays.
for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that landscape has changed a lot, and also just purely the quantity of opportunities in terms of brands wanting to work with not one creator or two creators, where, back in the day they would set a huge budget for like one production, which would then go on and for the next 6 months be on TV and be on internet paid ads. Now they want to work with 20 creators, 25
It's just
creators.
the quantity of content that's needed. It's like the content demand is just growing every single day. So
Yeah.
like they need to get that content from somewhere. So that leaves space for creators.
Yes, exactly, which is good.
Yeah.
And I also see like the brands are not only working with the big creators anymore, like not only, but they want like micro nano influencers, like the smaller creators, which have a solid base of audiences, which they trust. Yeah.
Before I have a follow-up question, I have one kind of comment for our viewers. I don't know whether you will agree and whether Dani agrees, but the structure of your career is like fascinating, because in my opinion, it's actually the reverse of most people's journey. Because what tends to happen is,
Oh yeah, true.
yeah,
Yeah.
people tend to start, and for the first couple of years, they are trying to like post some photos to Insta, reach out to brands, and try and get some free, maybe like barter exchange work where they don't get paid but they get a product. Then maybe they like, oh, okay, I need to up my game, so I'll pay for some courses. And then they, like, once they are good enough, once they have got a portfolio, once they have worked with some brands, then they might go on to build a
Their own
course or
course.
do coaching. Whereas you seem to have like flipped that completely, and it seems to have worked amazingly for you,
Yeah.
which I love that.
Yeah, thanks. I never thought about that. Yeah, true. I don't know. If I really want something, I just learn it. Like I learn it so fast, and I go out every day to try it out and to get better.
Okay, cool. So it was like a determination of the learning part, and that's what drove it, I guess. That's cool.
Hmm.
So
And
Yes.
discipline as well.
discipline, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's always a big one.
I think the discipline comes from like because I was a gym rat pretty much earlier in the days, and I had discipline. When I worked at the IT job, I came home at around like 6:30, and at 7 or so, I head to the gym, come back at 8, eat something, and then I edit the photos, and it was like 1 o'clock or something, and next day go to work like that.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
Long time.
graft. You worked hard at that.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
It's the stuff that you don't see behind people's Instagram is like how hard they work. I mean, like now, right in this moment, but also the many years before.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wanted to ask because obviously our podcast today is talking about short form content, so I want to sort of start going towards that direction. I'm hoping that the answer to this question is going to really fuel the rest of the podcast. What made your socials like pop off? Because you grew to like 180,000, 175,000 really quite quickly, and that is a very impressive following. So, what was the trick?
So actually, I was already like, let's say before I started with videos, I was at 125K or something.
Okay, wow.
Only with photos, because back in the days you didn't go viral without the reels. You only had photo posts. And then I started with videos, with reels and everything. Because I stuck at 125K for a long time because I didn't pay attention to it anymore because I was working. I tried the freelance stuff. And then like when was it? In like 2021 or something, I was like, okay, I want to take this serious, like I had a couple brands coming in somehow, or I think I reached out to some brands. They sent me free stuff still. It was free. And I really wanted to level up my content, be really good at it, and really work with brands. So I gave it all. I went all in with my production. I asked friends to film me. I I did a lot just to get good content which people can relate or like. And then it started to pop off. I did a lot of memes in the beginning. That's like because people can relate to that stuff. Like as a photographer, as a videographer, the struggles, and these kind of videos went really good or viral, or a lot of TikTok trends as well. I jumped on a lot of trends back then.
Did you start with TikTok or was it Instagram?
No, it was actually Instagram because TikTok. There was a guy, Alexander the Great, and we talked a lot back, like when we did portraits, and he started to say like, "Oh, jump on TikTok," and also when Gary Vee was doing that stuff. But TikTok wasn't available for half a year, 1 year in Europe then, so I was like, okay, I can't even download it, so I can't jump on it right now. And then as soon as I came, I started, but I didn't know what to post. No one knew what to post, right? And some TikToks went actually viral, so I gained like 60K in a couple of months or something.
Wow.
Pretty fast.
That's impressive, yeah.
Yeah, you didn't see that virality back then because this is pretty new, and usually you just post photos on Instagram and you hope that you go viral, or not viral, but you grow like with time, right? With consistency.
You managed to time that really well with the boom of the short form content as well. Like I think you hit it at a great time. And also like, again, it's like your discipline to stick with it.
Yeah, yes.
I have a question, Danny. I have a question because I'm like super interested. Because you mentioned that like you went to, you wanted to double down on the short form content, like, up the production value, you got friends to film you, etc. Did you see that as like, this is the next step in my career? Or did you want to, like, basically, if I grow, I will be able to secure better brand deals? Or were you thinking, I want to build my own personal following, my own personal brand, and that was the main goal?
So the main goal, it's a good question because everyone has different intentions, right? The first goal of mine was actually to just grow, like Instagram was my side hustle because I started freelancing in 2021 or something. I worked at the company for almost 1 year as a video producer full time, and then I went freelance 100%. And I was like, I don't need Instagram actually. I need to focus on client work.
Yeah.
And that went on for 2 years or something. And then I, as I said before, I wanted to double down on Instagram as well because I had a quite big following. So I was like, I can actually utilize this to get brand deals and also do social media content, right? So that was, I think, like end of 2022. I started to work with Hoham, the gimbals. This was my first like bigger paid gig, I think. Then I worked with Monogram, with PMI, with June as well because they had this creator hub. So I applied, and they asked me a couple months afterwards again, like, do I want to do another video about the newer 5 Ray? And I was like, again, a free work. Actually, I don't want to. I want to get paid for that stuff now. But I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. I will do it. Okay. They sent it to me. I did it. I worked with a couple other brands in the camera industry, and then in February, like June, actually offered me an ambassadorship. Like this was huge for me, like I always wanted to be something like that because I looked at other creators, ambassadors, like getting paid monthly to do content, and I was like, damn, that's sick.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I was shaking, but the number was not like, I was not okay with the number on the contract, like with the pay with the how do you say, like salary kind of.
Yeah.
And I was like, actually I want this, but it's too little to do like here to live here. And I just like went in and said, no, how about this, does this work for you? And then she I was like sending the email, went to the gym. I was like, oh please, how I get a good reply, and then
we know the feeling. That's the thing, we really know the feeling.
And then I saw the notification like a couple hours later, I think. I was like, oh, I can't open the mail, I'm too scared, and she said like, yeah, it's okay, it works for us. And I was like, yes,
nice.
Perfect. Yeah.
Danny, I've got a question because you said that actually at this point, the brands were still not expecting, but like proposing to work on a product exchange base for free, essentially. Exactly. And you had a following already at this point. You had like 120,000 following, yeah?
Yes, more than that, I think. Yeah, like 150, 160 something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. I think brands like, obviously they're getting better now, I think, with offering to pay, but I think they will always try, no matter what size creator you are, I think will always try to get something for free first.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of do like a takeaway here for our viewers, this is something that's like so important, is being assertive and being able to say, like, value your work, value your time, regardless of the size of your audience. Because like, look, even brands were coming to Dani, who was over 100,000 followers, which is like a level that we wouldn't even dream of at this point. And they were still like hoping, if we can get work for free, great. And obviously you kind of can't blame them. But at the same time, as creators, we need to make sure that we're ready to say, like, look, just like that. I mean, Dani, that was awesome that you, even though you were stressing about it, you were like, no, this is how much I need.
You knew your worth and you went for it.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, as you said, it's right. Like the big creators, the numbers doesn't mean anything. Smaller creators can actually earn more than bigger, let's say, with the numbers creator.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you have a big number that you earn a lot from brand work as well.
I wanted to ask Dani now about specifically the workload as a short form creator, because obviously as you doubled down, more opportunities came in that area. And so it's kind of a bit of a loop that fuels itself. So 2 questions kind of tied together. Are you happy that you're now focusing on short form content and doing a lot of short form content? And do you find it like satisfying from a creative perspective to be working in this form, in this like media?
Yeah. So let me answer the second question first. So as I said, like I was freelancing for the first 2 years without using Instagram, like social media a lot, like for doing work. So I was working with local clients mostly. And I just realized that I didn't like to do that so much
Just
because
lost some internet.
Yeah, but it's
You
still
hear me?
recording, so... Okay, now we can hear you.
Now
yeah.
I can hear you, but you know, we wouldn't have lost any of that video. We won't have lost any of that video thanks to Riverside.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, true.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
think we should.
perfect time.
So, let's tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Riverside. Riverside is already known to be the best solution to record high-quality podcasts with remote guests. So even when the internet drops out, your files are constantly being recorded in the highest possible quality locally on your hard drive.
Which it will cut out.
It always does.
But what we weren't expecting was how much of a game-changing tool it is for podcast editing. You can upload your podcast and use the text-based editor to remove ums, ahs, and any parts of the podcast you don't want to see the light of day. Riverside can help you generate captions, remove filler words, and even create AI-generated magic clips.
We've even been using these automatically generated transcripts to turn our podcasts into SEO-rich blog posts.
Who's been doing that? It's me.
And if you want to check it out, go to riverside.fm and sign up using the code TRIO STORIES to get a whopping 15% off.
Trio Stories. It's
Trio
us.
Stories.
There's quite clearly 3 of us. Trio.
Thank you so much, Riverside. Back to the episode.
So as I said, I worked with a lot of local clients here for about 2 years without utilizing my social media accounts, and I did their work, like how they wanted it, right? Like how their marketing manager sees the outcome and wanted it. And I realized that I didn't really like to work like that because I had my own style. I knew my stuff is good, but they don't want beautiful videos. Clients or business owners usually care about more like how's the return of investment? How are the numbers? Is this video going to like get good results for them in terms of business, right? So they don't care about does it look good, so they don't pay you for like color grading or get good lighting or something like that. So I really realized that. So I was like, oh, I actually don't like to work with these kind of clients. They don't want to pay a lot, and then they are a kind of pain in the ass because they want a lot, but they don't want to pay a lot. So yeah. And so working with brands, actually, they usually give you the freedom to work how you want, to implement your own style because you are going to present it to your audience. So this is much more satisfying for me, especially. I really like that because they just give you the freedom because they trust you. They just give you the stuff here. Do whatever, just make it look good, right? For your audience, for us as well. You can... Of course, you can. It's not like you do like random stuff. They trust you. They see your work, so they know what the outcome is. So it's a lot more satisfying to work like that, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. That's like the best part about working with, I think, these type of creative brands where you can really practice your creativity and then the trust is there to work together with. I think that makes it much more satisfying.
Yeah, and I think these brands are coming to work with you for you and for your style. So, you know, that's the big compliment, and I guess the big thing that makes it so much more rewarding, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. This is like every artist's dream, I think.
So talking about the work that is satisfactory and the work that, you know, brings you joy, what is your favorite ever piece of short form content and why? Like your favorite that you've ever made, or the one that was most like satisfying and rewarding as a creator?
Ooh, wow, that's a great question. I never thought about that one.
Remember every single piece of content you've ever made and then pick one.
It doesn't have to be the absolute best one, but like when I said that, surely a couple of things came to your mind, like a couple of bits that you remembered that you were like, yeah, I was proud of this one.
Short form content. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them. I really like to do these kind of like travel or car stuff, and I really like those videos where I did it with the sunset and everything. And some of these videos, I actually did a shot list and everything and planned everything. Got screen grabs, but I cannot say like one piece because it's too many. If you do the short form content, it's too many pieces. And I think I'm not like I was a perfectionist in the beginning, but that stops you from publishing content. So sometimes I'm just like, it's 80%, 70% done. I'm just gonna post it because I'm gonna lose so much time for the last 20% or something. So I'm just gonna publish it. So I think short form content, there's actually not a piece where I'm super proud of, I put so much work to it. Maybe the ace.
I guess that's
Oh, sorry.
I guess that's the thing with like short form content is, like you said, like if you absolutely perfected every tiny detail, like you would never make anything.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
It's not the point of short form content. Short form content was never meant to be like absolutely
So polished.
perfect.
Yeah. I mean, there are creators. They put a lot of work into it. Like Kyle Nutt, for example. You know him probably. He needs like 1 month for one video, but it's insane. It's so emotional. And it's so much work. Also, Dimitri, of course, he also puts a lot of work in it.
Yeah.
But it's actually not short form content. It's like for longer form content, and he just posts it there usually.
Yeah, but Danny, Sal just interrupted you. You were going to say one piece of content, an ASUS piece.
I think the ASUS was not that bad in terms of like, it was kind of cinematic, different pieces with a voiceover and everything. But that kind of stuff doesn't give you like a lot of eyeballs on social media somehow, I think. But I like to do that kind of stuff.
But so what it sounds like what you're saying though is like the sort of higher production and the higher creative work from you results in you being more proud and attached to that piece rather than the traditional metrics like the eyeballs on Instagram.
Yeah. Now your question is probably like, what does make you more happy, right?
Well, what does?
It's really hard. It's really hard. As a short form or social media content creator, you always look at the metrics. Some people say don't look at the metrics, just post it, do the next piece, post it, and then just forget it and get better and learn from the last, maybe like check the analytics, the retention graph and everything. But I think everyone looks at the numbers. Yeah, like you post it. After a couple hours, you check it. Like after 1 hour, you check it already. After a couple hours, next day, you check it. You check it every time. And if you don't get the numbers which you usually get, which is absolutely not in your control because the algorithm always changes, or the algorithms, because it's multiple usually, always changes and it's not in your control. Maybe Instagram is down at that moment, or maybe it's like New Year's Eve, or maybe not New Year's Eve, but something like differently.
Something could be happening.
And you don't hit the numbers and you're kind of sad, because you put so much work in it and then it doesn't come out as you want it. So it's
that translates with all content, I think, not just short form. It's always like you feel really proud of a video and then like it doesn't get the return of the views and then it's like, oh, actually maybe it wasn't that great, and it's a tough process.
Yeah.
Is the creator roller coaster basically? Like, is the creator roller coaster,
emotional torture?
Like the Disney movies.
Exactly. But I mean, it's interesting because you've kind of spoken there about the let's say like downsides or caveats of short form content, and I think with short form, because by nature there's a lot more quantity of it, you experience that roller coaster a lot more frequently, like you're constantly on it.
Yeah.
So this leads me to the question of short form versus long form, because do you still see the short form content you produce as a like long-term means to an end to become like a long-form artist or YouTuber, or is short form like at the moment that this is your like end goal, this is where you're kind of putting your eggs into this basket?
So I always wanted to be a YouTuber as well. So I actually did start with YouTube back then in 2019 or 2020, I think, with a lot of tutorials, Photoshop tutorials especially. I still do some YouTube videos, but it takes so much time for me to cut it, to speak, because it's short form content. You can speak so fast, like a couple sentences. It's just 15 seconds or 20 or 60 seconds max, usually. And it's so easy to put out these kind of little sentences. But for YouTube videos, you really have to talk longer and more precise, I think, as well.
Yeah.
But I think long form content, especially YouTube, is to stay longer than short form. Like the audience is more loyal, I would say. It's not random people popping in. Usually it's like a TV show. People come, like expect a video every week or something from you, and you just post it there. And it's like a loyal viewership rather than on like Instagram, like just random people. Sometimes it goes viral, people see it, like random people, maybe they bounce off afterwards, they just see it, laugh and go off. But on YouTube, they watch your video is like, I don't know, 4 to 10 minutes, and they have to like you to actually
it's a bit more of a community vibe. I was actually just going to ask that. I was going to ask, like, what's your experience of your following on Instagram? Is it like that you've created like a community there? Is it a place where people chat and hang out and
do people
like
come back?
Do you
back,
have
or
regular people that you're like, oh yeah, you, and that kind of thing?
Yeah. So that's actually something very important on social media. It's a social media platform, so you should actually build a circle around you with like-minded people. I did that in the beginning, and we always commented on each other's posts. It's important to build that circle on Instagram or on social media in general, so people come back and you go back to them and motivate each other. And also it's good for the engagement, for the like reach and everything. But there are actually some people, they just come almost every time, and I really appreciate that they always come and comment and also send me some DMs, ask me stuff and everything. And now you can also do these broadcast, I think, channels on Instagram. Unfortunately, they cannot answer. They can just like vote, but it's not that much of a community building on Instagram itself, I would say, if you don't have like on an external platform.
It's tough. I think social media, like in general, Instagram especially, it's very, very hard to build that community. It's a lot of like this.
It's more presenting stuff than like how on Twitter or X. It's more like conversations rather than like, here's my work. But it's actually really nice though how you described it still, that you still have like loyal people coming back, that you've had those relationships, that you've got that community. Because I think now, like, because short form is kind of like, short form content, it's like constant, it's everywhere. Like, you don't really consider that community as much, I don't think. But it's really nice to hear that that's still possible, that's still there.
Yeah, I think so. It's still possible. I mean, you don't really catch the personality on short form content usually because it's so fast, right? You just tell your sentences. You don't really get to know the person. So it's quite difficult to build the community also on the platform itself, because you don't have really the Instagram doesn't offer something to do that. But the sad thing is also, like, if you post something not as good, they still say, oh, it's fire, like, oh, it's good. But you sometimes you really want to have the feedback, the authentic feedback, so you can improve. Because if everyone says it's good, you think, oh, okay, it's fine, right? I don't have to improve. But yeah, okay.
Well, now I know that. Now
No,
I
no,
know
no,
that
no.
every single piece of content we like, this is trash.
No, no, no,
Dani.
no.
You can do better.
I didn't want to say that. I don't want.
Everyone go and roast Dani.
Yes. Now everyone's coming like, oh, okay, I see what you do. No, just kidding. But sometimes it's like that. Sometimes, I don't
Yeah.
say like on every piece, but sometimes also I don't produce only high quality content. Sometimes it just sucks. I think okay, let's just put it out. I just yeah.
It's mostly high quality
It's
content.
very
Dani.
high quality
I-
content.
Yeah, thank you. I have a couple reels which I think like, oh my god, it's actually bad, but I just put it out. So I already know it's not gonna perform well, but whatever. Then
Yeah.
it looks differently in my mind, and then I put it out, and it's like, or I edit or I film it, and it's turns out different. So yeah.
That always happens.
Yeah, of course.
Just even
of
when you
course.
don't expect it or you think something's going to work really well and then it doesn't, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, it can work
That's
both ways. It
disappointing.
can work
Yeah.
both ways. Sometimes I know this is not an amazing piece of content, or I don't think this will do well, or this hasn't come out as I had hoped, but I'm going to post it anyway. Because I think that attitude is great. You're still practicing that. I've started something, I'm going to finish it by taking it to the end and post it. And who knows, maybe it does better than you expected. Maybe it doesn't, but that's what builds consistency.
Yeah, it's the practice of consistency, like starting a project and ending a project. I think it's something a lot of creative people struggle with.
Yeah.
Oh.
Actually ending a project. So that's why I said like how amazing it was with you that you're so consistent and you managed to do that like so often with the short form. Yeah, it's very aspirational.
Thanks. Oh, there's something I want to add as well. I just read a book, Steal Like an Artist. Maybe you probably know that, right? Everyone knows that.
I've heard it. I haven't read it.
Oh, no?
We've heard about it, yeah, but we haven't read it.
But definitely heard
It's
of it.
pretty great. So I actually did this before already. So you actually like watch other creators' content, which you like, right? And you kind of try to reproduce that kind of stuff, and then you put your own spin on it, like maybe 10%,
Yeah.
20%. And this is how you like develop your own style because you then you know like the basics how that creator actually took it, and then next time you can add your own spin to it, but don't like just take it one by one, word by word, but just try to reproduce it and then put your own spin on it.
It's
well, just like with regards to that, when we have ideas for reels, sometimes we will say, "Oh,
let's look
do
at Dani and how he would do it. How
just
would he
do
approach this
Dani's
reel?
content. Shall we do it in his style?" Because like we've absolutely loved your short form content, and it's definitely something that
we aspire to.
we aspire to, and we want to see more of on these platforms. I mean, the other day, the one that you made, where it was
the girl,
and you stitched the video.
All right, if you're a boy and you ever plan on being intimate with a girl,
No, thank you. Anyway, this is my new wireless anamorphic.
Bart would not shut up about that video all day.
Spot on, amazing, Dani, loved it.
Yeah, I saw that in another niche, and then I was like, okay, I can take this into the camera audience. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. Steal like an artist.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
I see that a lot, like a lot of trends in other niches, and then I put it into the like camera relatable stuff. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you how you managed to stay so consistent. Like short form, it's a lot. It's a lot of content that you have to put out. Like a lot of individual projects that you have to like start and then finish. How do you manage to do that?
Well, that's that's a question almost everyone asks. Like, how do you manage like time? You know, like working with clients, do social media content and everything. Actually, I'm pretty bad at planning content. I'm not that like these social media manager people, you know, gurus on Instagram. They say like, yeah, they plan like 5 pieces of content every week and already have the content for the next week. Sometimes I just wake up in the morning, I have an idea. I was like, okay, I'm gonna film this and I'm gonna publish this. You know, like sometimes it's just like that. Sometimes I batch create content. I do my research and what is like popular right now, what kind of maybe AI software or software in general, because these are like there are different kind of contents, right? Like the memes, which is sometimes pretty easy to do because you don't have to talk. You just have to like reproduce something relatable, which is easy to catch. Or you do like talking head educational content, which is a little bit more difficult because you have to do your research. Or you do like tutorials without talking, or you do like before afters, or just like the visual cinematic stuff, right? But I really don't plan my content too much. Just for the talking heads, usually I just script it out, and I set up my camera, and I do like 2, 3, 4 pieces of that talking head stuff. And actually, I also started to work with an editor last year, so I sent it off to him, and he just edit that stuff, the talking head stuff, because this saves me so much time.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like delegating is such a huge part of growing as a creator, and it's so hard to do to let go of that creative control.
Yeah. I also had some downsides of that because it's not everyone is like how do you say the responsiveness of them, like you don't get it sometimes. You ask like what's going on, when can I expect it, because the client is waiting, and maybe the person,
of course, but you're relying on someone else, aren't you? So of course there's that element.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I wanted to ask before you wanted to ask. I wanted to ask, like, on average, could you estimate off the top of your head, like if you were to average out, how long does it take from the planning stage to the posting stage? How long does it take you for a short form piece of content?
For memes, it's pretty fast.
Just like on, if you were to average it across the
let's say the talking heads, because these are pretty consistent. Do the research and do the scripting, etc. Sometimes like 4-5 hours, like research scripting. But not only one piece. If you like research, you research a couple pieces, right? So you don't just say like after half an hour, oh, I have this, I want to do this. You just still researching, and then you script all of them together, and then you batch like create it. So maybe one piece of content maybe takes like 1 to 3 hours, depending on like how much you talk or how much research do you want to do.
Okay, nice.
I love your kind of work of how consistent it is. Like, you know what you're doing, you know your like niche. You know the work that you have to do, like the videos between this amount and this amount of seconds.
You were just able to like identify all the categories of content that you do. So like in your head, it sounds like you very much got this like broad vision of, okay, I do this content, this content, this content, this content, this content. Like, this is what I need for this one. This is what I need for this one. And I think that's a really cool.
It's efficient.
Yeah, very efficient, streamlined way of looking at it.
Yeah, it's also important to know like which content is made for what, like the outcome of the content, because like the memes or the memes, let's say the memes or the trends are actually not to grow a following, especially because people maybe see it, laugh, and then bounce, right? See the next
Move
one.
on,
But it can go viral. People see it, so it has a lot of reach. So many people see it. But if you do like a talking head or something, you like put out your professionalism, so people trust you more. So they maybe come back because they see, oh, this person is giving some value, so I'm gonna stay, right? For the next time, maybe I'm gonna follow. But for the trendy stuff, maybe not.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think, it's time to wrap up. So I've got an interesting question to kind of end on. How do you see the future of short form content? Because obviously we've seen, TikTok kind of come and
shake up the whole
industry, really. Yeah, I mean, now it's everywhere: YouTube Shorts, Reels, everything. Do you think this current format is here to stay, or do you think we're going to go in a different direction? What's your view on that?
So is this question only for TikTok now, like dedicated to TikTok?
No, everything, just generally, yeah.
Okay.
Or any short form, is that what you're asking?
Yeah. Let's say for TikTok, I just see a big shift right now, like at the moment. Like people are tired of these fast-pacing edits of talking heads with the B-rolls and the effects and everything. They want to see more authentic stuff, so just talking in front of the camera, making some mistakes, etc., and not the perfect talking heads. So maybe it shifts in the right direction, like YouTube a little bit. So you just see the flaws of the creator, etc. And also, I don't know if this is like really good on TikTok right now, or it's like getting more reach. But people say they want you to post horizontal content on TikTok. It gets more
Okay,
reach,
wow.
and also they made the videos like you can upload up to 10 minutes, I think, now on TikTok, which is weird. Because also I check the comments, of course. If I see these pieces of videos, I check the comments. People say like, okay, if I see a horizontal video, I skip it immediately. And also like people say like, I'm not here for these horizontal videos, because you have to click a button to make it horizontal, and then you have to watch it like YouTube.
It's a commitment,
Yeah,
whereas
yeah.
TikTok is the opposite of a
Yeah,
commitment.
exactly.
Like,
It's so weird. I don't know, but still they have a lot of reach. The horizontal videos I saw so far, so it's a little bit weird because the retention rate doesn't seem like it's big because people are bouncing off. It seems like, or maybe they are typing the comments and it already takes like a minute or so, and then
Enough, yeah, yeah.
yeah. But as you know, TikTok, Instagram, they are pushing out like new features. Also on Instagram, I think they are releasing a new feature to upload videos up to 6 minutes, 3 minutes. I'm not sure.
Okay.
It's not available for everyone yet. Also not for me, I think, but I saw it. So.
But do you think, Danny, that, because a lot of these platforms are releasing the different features and they often like create something and they hope it takes off because obviously they want people to use their app. But what do you think from the audience and from like people perspective, not from the people behind the apps? What do you think people are craving, like in terms of short form content? Like what sort of thing you think is going to be popular or successful in the coming like months?
I think short form content is here to stay, definitely. I think so, yeah. Also, yeah, I think for brands, for creators, for everyone, it can be frustrating, of course, if you don't hit the numbers, if you don't go viral in the beginning. But everyone has to be consistent. You can't like just pop off from one day. But I think it's also difficult to stand out as a person now, like for a new creator, because almost everything is already there. There are some creators which are like unique, like Adrian, maybe you know him.
Not sure.
OMG Adrian, he does like these talking head videos, short form content kind of stuff.
oh no, I need to check him out.
Yeah.
I need to find all these creators you've mentioned.
OMG Adrian, he talks into the camera and he does it usually outside with different angles and very nice, pretty easy actually, but still complicated. So it's very nice because he's talking like casually, like it feels like you're with him there. Also
cool.
the I forgot his name. The bodybuilder, the big one, Sam Sulek.
Okay.
Oh, I think I've seen some of his videos.
His videos are almost like uncut. He just talks in the gym, and it feels like you're with him in the gym, and he's going viral because of that. So this is what I say. The shift is going towards that direction, I think, to more authenticity.
Definitely. I was just gonna say, like, it's the authentic videos that you want to see now as a viewer. Like, I'm kind of done with the old school. This is my life. This is this is
the
like
perfect life.
my best life. I think people just don't. They've outgrown it. They just don't want to see the bullshit
I think
anymore.
so. I think so. So I think there's going to be a drop in like this aspirational content, when people go to Dubai and take photos with Lambos and all that kind of thing. I think that's going to have a drop, in this more sincere form it will be more popular.
Everything cycles, so it'll probably be that like for a while it'll be this authentic thing, and then because the flashy stuff will stand out again, then it'll be more popular. It's just comes and goes.
It can change again, just as fashion. It can come and go. Yeah.
Exactly. Dani, one last final thing. Do you have one single golden piece of advice for somebody who wants to like level up their short form content or start doing short form content?
Yeah, sure. So Everyone wants some shortcuts. They always want to be like falling out of the clouds and just produce crazy content, but that's not gonna happen. So everyone starts somewhere. So some people they think, oh, I'm not gonna post this, or what camera should I get to start? But you can actually start with every camera you have, so you can learn the basics actually, like camera angles and everything, lighting, and then you can step up to better gear later. But you have to start somewhere, and everyone does crappy content at the beginning, but nobody cares. So you just post it. You get better every time. People might be roasting you online, but you can't take that serious sometimes. People just like are internet warriors. They just put their comments in, maybe like user 12348 something like that, And so
Yeah.
you cannot take this serious. Don't take that personally. Just put out content, and if you really want to take it serious, really treat it like a business, not just like a hobby or something like on the side. And if you want to work with brands, maybe even consider to invest in some gear to buy from that brand and do like these kind of spec works maybe, so they can notice you, or maybe other brands can notice you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dani, for your time. We appreciate you coming on to speak to us so much. It's been a really fun chat, and hope you enjoyed it too.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me here. It was a pleasure.
And your setup looks amazing as well.
Yeah,
we love the moody lighting, cinematic as hell.
I like to have it moody. Just had to put the smoke genie here as well.
Nice.
Sauce, yeah. Damn, we should have done that.
Lighting the back side, yeah.
The Rembrandt lighting.
Yeah. I was thinking about that. I actually bought my first C-stand, so it was possible to do it just a couple weeks ago.
That's a big moment.
Congrats. We really hope you enjoyed listening and watching, hopefully, to this episode. It's been a lot of fun. If you enjoyed it, please rate us 5-star on Spotify or wherever you're listening. There's got to be some buttons to like or follow us, whatever. Just do all the good stuff. We'll appreciate it.
And go find Just Do Dani as well, his Instagram. You can binge his content.
Yes, links to Just Do Dani will be in the description, and he's an amazing artist, so check him out. Love you all.
Thanks for watching.
See you in the next
listening.
one. Hear you in the next
Spotify,
one, or you'll hear us in the next one.
Apple Podcasts.
Bye. Love
Bye.
you. Awesome.
Oh, that was good.
That's great.
That was
Thank
good
you so
fun.
much, Dani. That's awesome.